Hi, welcome to Analytics for All. This is lesson 13 in our Python for Data Science course. In this lesson, we're going to be covering error handling. Now, as with all my lessons, I have a full write-up on my website, analyticsforall.org. I'll have a link down in the description. Uh, I have my first lesson, I show you how to install the Anaconda distribution so you can use the Jupyter notebooks I'm using. I highly recommend that. However, if you happen to be on a cell phone or a tablet or a work computer, you can install. I have included, if you check out my lessons, you check on and you look for the blue arrows, and it'll bring you to a Python testing shell where you can try this out yourself. But I still highly recommend you actually download the distribution yourself. Go ahead, let's hop over here. Let's get into what error handling is and why I think this is one of the more important lessons, because this is honestly something I use in almost every program. Okay, so what is error handling? Well, let's start with this. Okay, so I've got a simple input statement, enter a number, but I've wrapped it in a definer saying it has to be an integer. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this, and let's give it an error. Give it a G. Look what happens. It errors out. Invalid literal for int base. So if this is a program I'm running, if I'm running a script, like I have scripts that go out and they scrape the web, or they'll go out and grab documents and load them into a SQL server for me, or do stuff. If they have an error, they just stop, and it can stop in the middle of my program, and I won't even know about it if I'm not looking at it. So this method actually, it lets you correct errors. So let's go ahead. We're going to start with it here very simply. The main thing we're going to learn is we have a new command called try and accept. Okay. So what happens is try, if you put try in front and I indent the next statement, I'm saying I want you to go ahead and try this. And if something goes wrong in this line right here, then I want the accept to come up. So put the input, enter number. If something goes wrong, I want you to print this is not a number. Else, if everything goes right, just go ahead and print the number I entered. And I'm using this, percentage sign D variable printing, which I've done a lesson on before. You can go check it out. And let's give it a try though. So let's go ahead and start this off. And again, let's mess up. Let's put an H in. All right, what's it say? That's not a number. Okay, what happens when I try it here? And let's do it correctly. That's a number. The biggest important thing is I didn't fail. This line right here, that killed your program's dead. It killed your program. This just said, nah, it didn't work. I'm going to ignore this. All right. Now, how I normally do this in a program is I'll wrap it in a loop. So if something goes wrong, I'm saying, hey, let's try it again. Okay, so this loop, while true, so what I'm saying with while true is this loop's just going to run until I tell it to break, because that's what I want to do. So that's a really shortcut way to make a loop that runs until you tell it to break. Okay, you don't have, there's no countdown. It's not, I'm going to run it 10 times. This is going to say this thing runs until I say stop. Okay, we're going to put our try statement in. So that's all the same we've had. Now we're going to add some new lines. We got continue. Continue means if we have a failure, print this out, and then continue the loop. Just start over again. Else, if we get it right, I want you to break in the loop because we're good. I don't need to do it anymore. I got the right answer. So let's go ahead and give that a shot. So we'll say H. Nope, no good. Let's try another. Let's try 7.8. That's no good. That's not an integer. Now let's go ahead and give it an integer, bam, and we're done. Entered 6 and it broke, so we're good. Okay, so again, the while loop, while true, is just a really shortcut way to say I want you to run this until I tell you to break. All right, let's try some other uses for this. Let's say let's look at a zero division error. You can't do that. The universe will implode on itself and we're all going to die. Okay, so try, and this doesn't require input. We're just going to try running a command and divide. Then it says if accept, oh no, you divided by 0, else your answer. And finally, this is a new command we're going to finally, this is going to print regardless of what happens here. So I go this, oh no, you divided by 0. Now if I try it where I set it so it's good, so this is the same code, it's just instead of divided by 0, I got 10 divided by 2. The answer is 5, and again, this prints regardless. Okay, so that's what finally gives us. So far we've learned try, accept, finally. Else we already knew from our if then. All right, now this is the last cool part. We're going to get into specific errors, zero division value errors. Now, real quick, let's go ahead, let's pop back to my site. Let me show you something. I've got at the bottom here, the bottom of this lesson, you're going to see a list of exception types can be found here. You click the link, it's going to take you, this is Python documentation. And you can go down here and it'll give you the different types of lists: standard error, arithmetic error, buffer error, lookup error. There's a whole, see, God, there's just errors and errors and errors. But you can use this to your advantage because sometimes you want to know what kind of error, based on the error you're getting, how do you want your program to react. So let's go ahead and look at this. We're going to continue. We're going to do things. We're going to ask you now to enter a number, and then we're going to divide that 10 by your number. So let's go ahead. Let's try the first one. The first one I've got here is a zero division error. So what happens if I put 0 in as my integer? Oh, let's go back and zoom in again. I'm sorry. Sometimes I move faster than I think. All right. So 0 division error. We're going to put a 0 in, and we'll see what happens. Oh no, you divided by 0, end of lesson. So what happens here? So run this part. I divided by 0, so I got a 0 division error. So it printed out, oh no, you divided by 0. It skipped over this. It doesn't worry. It doesn't worry about the else because it got that. And then finally, end of lesson. Think of like this, like an elifs. You know, once it hits one of them, that's the end of the loop. It doesn't worry about checking the rest of the box. So you make sure when you put these in, you stack these in order of importance. So if you are more concerned with one than the other, you want to put it on top to make sure you catch that error first. Okay. The next one, we'll go ahead and we'll try it. What we'll do is we're going to try now value error. I'm going to give this a value that's not an integer. I'm going to give this 7.6. Let's see what happens. That is not an integer. So that hit the value error. The value error knows that it is not the value that was expected on this input. Okay. Finally, let's just go ahead and give it a real answer. We'll divide by 2. And we get the answer is 5 because it didn't hit any of the exception errors. It hit else, and then finally it always printed out the end of lesson. All right. Again, this error handling is important. I use it all the time in most of my programs. I'd say 90% of my scripts already have some form of error handling in there. Say some of the lessons in the early part, a lot of it is like interview questions or just kind of introducing you to Python. But this one is something you're going to find yourself using. But thank you very much for watching this. Go ahead and please visit my website. If you like this, hit the like, subscribe button, hit that bell. And if you got any questions or any comments, put them below. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you later.